So here we go then. 5 red lights for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lights out and we are underway. Away pull Ogwin and Midzi from their starting slots. It's a brilliant start from Midzi, but it's still a decent one from Ogwin. Andres has go around the outside here as they enter the first corner. It's very narrow between them. Midzi on the inside, half a car length between them, and it looks like Midzi's going to take the lead here on the exit. Gets really good traction here. There's been no collisions through turn 2. They're going 3 abreast behind them. Midzi into the lead. Andres going around the outside and attempts to take second place away from Ogwin. Chungus goes up to 4th. Sora's dropping back here. Eggers has fallen behind. Racewell has dropped a place. Midzi in the lead, then Andres 2nd, Ogwin 3rd. Chungus go 4th, Sora 5th, Jib Jab 6th, Sem 7th, Crispy 8th, Daisy 9th, Eggers 10th. So brilliant first sector of racing there. Everything was very exciting going behind. Oh, and around goes Race Roller. And that is not how the reigning champion would have wanted to start this one. He's dropped all the way back to P19 now. He's got a lot of work to do. So while one McLaren shows the way, the other one left in the dust. And so the McLaren driver has his work cut out for him here. Eggers going wide behind them. Keep my eye here on Chungus Goat as he rounds the penultimate corner. It's a decent train here, so Midzi hasn't got away as much as he would have liked, because Andres on those soft tyres is right behind him. Should he use his battery with the last corner, he might get a good run, have a go at him. But Midzi's also using his, so he sets the fastest up there. 1 minute 22.7. Down towards turn 1. Ogwin moving out to try and break the toe. Chungus goes for the look inside, going into that first corner. Does he go audacious late on the brakes? Yes, he does. He's looking inside and attempts to try and take 3rd place, and he will take 3rd place by half a car off of turn number 1. Down towards turn 2. Crowning meanwhile behind them, passing Riggsy for 11th place, trying to push his way back out of the points. We've got contact behind them, and Southerner who's gone round at the exit turn 1. And that puts Race Roller now up 1 place. So very unfortunate for Southerner that then he's got work to do himself. Sora and Ogwin battling now. Ogwin's surely dropping back now. The pulses are already down to 5th place here, and it's not looking good for him on those medium tyres. He's got work to do if he wants to haul himself back forward. Let's have a look at the position changes here. The biggest gainer so far appears to have been, it's a tie right now between Riggsy and Zydrad. Riggsy's currently chasing Crowding, so that could change in a moment. And Roller has lost 7 places with that opening lap spin. He's starting to close up on Merckx in front of him, so all is not lost. Chungus got up to 3rd place now. He had quite a good start as well. So here we go then, Andres off the last corner. The DRS is about to get enabled, but you won't have it down this main straight. I believe we'll have it going through turn number 2. We're going towards turn 2 as Chungus Goat sets the fastest up. 1 minute 18.3. Andres trying to stay close to Midzi as they enter turn 1. No DRS yet for Andres, so never mind. He's using his battery though, and he's got about half of what Midzi's got at this stage. Midzi with about 68% as they come off turn 2 and into turn 3 now. Those two running nose to tail though. It's very tight between these two so far. Behind them though, Ogwin dropping back and potentially falling prey to Jib Jab and the Mercedes behind him. Southerner's into the pit lane here, so he may have picked up damage from that spin. Yes, he did. He's changing his front wing. He's gone to a fresh set of medium tyres now. And he's away. It's the first pit stop of the race then, putting Southerner a long way back. He'll be hoping for a safety car at some point, potentially level things out. Midzi though, still leading the way. However, it's going to be dangerous coming off that last corner, because if Andres stays with him, he could actually take top spot. I mean, he briefly went for a move around the outside, going to the opening corner at the start of the race. But this is his best opportunity to try and take the lead for Alpine. Jeb Jab now passing Ogwin around the outside as they round the last corner. Andres on the chase, using his battery as well. He's closing on Midzi, but it's not worth a move just yet. Meanwhile, behind them, everything's nice and even between everyone else. Andres still right behind Midzi on the exit, but doesn't have enough for a run to really make a move, so he's got to stay behind for the time being. Just a quick scroll from the field here. So it looks like everyone's single file for the time being, as Racer is now caught up to the back of the pack. His first target being Merckx in the Ferrari. He's gone a little bit wide there through turn number 2. Definitely not the sort of line he would have liked. So Roller closing in. He's within 4/10. That could be 3 in just a moment. Southerner back there, all on his own in 19th place. Half a lap behind. Midzi still being chased by the Alpine. It's gone a bit wide there. Perhaps losing a little bit of time. The gap about 6 or 7 tenths between the two. Sora right on the back of Chungus Goat here to make the way to the last couple of corners. Into the final turn, then it's still that same order. Midzi, Andres, Chungus Goat, Sora, Jib Jab. Ogwin's dropped back here. Could potentially fall prey to Sem at some point in the next couple of laps. He's using his battery in an attempt to try and close in. Look how much Ogwin uses. Griffiths is disconnected here. So I have to get him in quick. Someone's going to have to get him back in quickly. Midzi in control. Andres still right behind him though. As Racer are now passing Mercs into the first corner. He's going to have the DRS as well on the exit. And I'm assuming he'll probably pass Griffiths within the next lap or so because he's disconnected. It's the AlphaTauri really dropping back now. Half a second now separating Midzi from Andres after that DRS zones. Chungus still there in third, looking to try and capitalise should one of these two make a mistake. And the mistakes so far this season, haven't seen too many of those from Midzi, and that's why he's been showing the way. Remember, he completely dominated the opening round in Bahrain. He's dominated the few races so far this season. He's had a very good run. It's no wonder he's so far ahead in the championship as he is. Now Sora here in 4th place could have the best opportunity to try and gain a place. He's right there, about 3 or 4 tenths behind Chungus Goat, although he's in a DRS train. He's got Jib Jab just behind him as well, so he's currently stuck in a Mercedes sandwich. Could look to try and get out of that as soon as he can. And Midzi really gets away in Sector 3, and that's where Andres is currently falling back. Chungus Goat using his DRS and his battery in order to try and close in on the top 2. Back into turn 1. Begin lap number 6 this Grand Prix now, as Sem now getting the job done on Ogwin. They're trying to fight back here on the inside, but I don't think he'll be able to do so. Sem using the DRS and the battery to pull away and try and establish an advantage, which he has done already, but he's gone a bit wide there through turn 2, so it might not be over yet. Although he's managed to recover it pretty well. He's got a decent exit of turn 3, and that might be the end of things for Ogwin. He's seriously dropping back here. It's been a terrible opening start to the race for him. Crispy right behind them though. It's definitely looking like a DRS train at some point. You know what, up front though, Midzi establishing a lead now. 8 tenths the advantage. Just be able to use that DRS and potentially some of his battery too. Midzi still has about 67% left. So everyone in that top 5, save for Andres, is in a pretty good position in terms of DRS. In turn 1, Andres still in DRS range, but it might not be for much longer here. Sora still right on the back of Chungus Goat, unable to do anything. Daisy is right on the back of Crispy on the exit of turn number 1. Going into turn 2, he's not going to get close enough to go for a move. So stays behind for the time being. It's Racer now making his way past Griffiths, who did rejoin without an issue. Still side by side. Daisy's disconnected now. Roller and Griffiths side by side. They're still going at it here. Off turn 3 up to turn 4. And Griffiths backs out. Someone had to give, and it was the AlphaTauri in this case. The next target for Racer then, V2 Combat, who's a good 3.6 seconds up the road. His teammate Edgars gets the first penalty of the night. 3 seconds, multiple warnings. And we expect to see a couple more of those over the course of the race. The leaders, meanwhile, making their way off the last corner. Crispy may have locked up a little bit there. I think I saw a brief bit of tyre smoke. But he's chasing Ogwin here as they ran the last corner. He might try and get him on the exit as they go. As Sem enters the pit lane, as does Sora. So first 2% of the lead is going to pits. Here goes Crispy looking for P5 down towards that first corner. He's going to take it on the inside, but he's already clear before they even reach turn 1. Can Ogwin fight back? No, he can't. He's trying. He's got the DRS trying to take an advantage, but he just can't. There's not enough room. Edgar's got a front row seat for this fight, but he's going to be focusing on the Red Bull behind him. Daisy, of course, still disconnected, so it's not the worst thing. Well, Zydrad in 12th place gets hit with a penalty. He's part of this long train that's sort of been led by Crispy. And goes all the way back to combat in 13th. So Roller's now still trying to gain some more time. In terms of drivers who have made stops so far, only 3 drivers, that being Sora, Sem and Southerner. Chungus Goat in 3rd place now. Andres out of DRS range of Midty, who's now free to try and pull a lead if he wants to. Crowding, passing a disconnected Daisy, who's still suffering in that Red Bull, not yet back in the session. Down to P9, and Riggsy's going to want to try and get in the action too. So have to be careful though, because he's got Power Quicks behind him here. Car into the pits, and that's Riggsy. And joining him in the pits is Eckers as well in the Alfa Romeo. So 2 more drivers into the pit lane now. Mitty now 2 seconds over Andres. Chungus Goat looking around. Jib Jab also there behind them. Andres suddenly under threat from 2 Black Arrows. They were on the chase in an attempt to try and get themselves both onto the rostrum. Power Quicks passing Daisy, who's still struggling there. Zydrad just behind. Roller's gained about 7/10 or so on combat since we last looked. And all around goes Griffiths behind them. Griffiths spinning all by himself on the exit of turn 2. He's had to let the guys behind him through. If I was Sora there kind of that corner, I would have been terrified, because if he hadn't ghosted, he may have run. The Ferrari might have run straight into him. Regardless, no damage was done to any of the cars up front, or any of the cars in that scenario. Up front. Meanwhile, Chungus Goat still chasing Andres as he has been for the opening couple of laps of this race. Jib Jab just behind him in 4th. So they make their way now off the last couple of corners. Looking to snake around, one behind the other, nose to tail, as they make their way off the final turn. Chungus Goat using his battery, and he should breeze past the Alpine here. Charging towards that first corner into turn 1. Does JJ go for it as well? He might try and take advantage of Andres going wide in order to allow Chungus Goat in. So the reserve Mercedes now up to 2nd place, and JJ going on the attack if he can. Will he duck inside? Oh, it could have been audacious. It definitely wouldn't have paid off if you ask me. Sem sets the fastest lap behind them. 1 minute 18.3. Sem on those medium tyres, the first lap on them. And Chungus Goat now looking to pull away. Jib Jab there in 4th. He'll be looking to try and find his way past the Alpine next, but he's going to have DRS this time. These guys are all on soft tyres. If Chungus Goat can pull away quickly, then he might actually be safe. He'll be trying to catch Midzy up front, who's pulled out a 3-second advantage to all these guys been squabbling. So Midzy now putting in another one of his vintage performances and still showing the way here, as they've seen for the majority of the season. Off the final turn once again, 6/10 covering Andres and Chungus Goat. Jib Jab into the pits here, so Crispy now is up to 4th. Ogwin 5th, Crowding 6th. Power Clips will make this pass of 7th. Zydrad now 8th. Power moving over to block the toe. Zydrad going breezing past into turn 1. And Zydrad locking up a little bit there. It looks like as they went into the detection zone, it wasn't enough. Jib Jab out of the pits now. Down to 14th place. Come up behind Sem. Racer on all this. Hasn't really gained much more time. He's currently running in 10th place thanks to those guys who have made stops so far. As of right now, 12 drivers are yet to make their first stops of the race, 11 laps into this thing. Mitty continuing to stretch that advantage. Even with Chungus Goat clear of threats behind him, as Andres is almost a second back now. And that'll be too long before we see these guys come into the pits. In comes Chungus Goat, and I'm just going to follow him here. Crispy stays out and moves into 2nd place. Ogwin will move into 3rd. Ogwin will be trying to fight back now as much as he can. The Aston Martin are crowding behind them in 4th place. Zydrab 5th. Para 6th. Combat in 7th. Sora comes out in front of Chungus Goat here. And Jib just trying to go around the outside of his teammate if he can. Here we go. These two going side by side on track. And Jib Jab might just get him here. Side by side into 2. Leaving each other room. Good racing here between teammates. And they're still side by side. One of them's going to have to give for turn 4. Chungus Goat dropping back. And Jib Jab now up into top place. So those pit stops allowing him to get the edge on his teammate. Those two now running one behind the other. If I was 7, I'd be getting a little bit worried because of the car behind. At least the 2 cars behind. The 2 Mercedes cars, so it'll be on the chase. Mitty still stays out. Because everyone's now on a set of medium tyres, so that will be sending the pit stops for a little while yet. Of course, Zydrad has been doing very well so far because he's on those hard tyres, so he's in a position where he can go for as long as he can. If we get a safety car, he can probably put onto a set of mediums. If we get a safety car in the next couple of laps, fresh set of mediums on the car potentially could take him to the end of the race. I mean, not right now, but like I said, over the next couple of laps. And it can probably go a bit longer, but maybe around lap 20, and then potentially a set of soft tyres to the end. You never know. It all comes down to what's going on track. And as of right now, in terms of what's going on with him on track, he's currently defending from combat and para. Roller's gaining a couple more tenths. Still not enough right now. Both Ferraris inside the top 10. As Jib Jab and Chungus go. Now caught Sem. Might try and go around the outside into 4. Definitely not worth it. Riggsy passes Edgars into the 4th turn. He's chasing Griffiths now. Southerner's trying to gain some time back. The gap between him and Dacey now 10.8 seconds. He's closing down the rate of knots here. Mitty's still in the lead by just about 7 seconds. No one pitting yet. As Mitty comes through, we can begin at lap number 14 of this race. Ogbean on the chase to Crispy here. Could he try and make something work off of turn 1? Using that DRS, not enough. Merckx pits. Sora now takes 7 back into the points, but only for the moment. Here goes Jib Jab back around the outside. And Chungus will be looking to try and take advantage. Oh, there goes Sem looking back inside. He locked up though. Was that worth it? I'm not sure it was because he's lost serious time now. Jib Jab pulls away and Chungus is going to go around the outside into turn 2. Keeping on Andres behind them, who might look to get involved. These two side by side. Chungus go round the outside. Sem down to P12. And the Mercedes duo really working well together here today. This is teammate chemistry, at least on track, unlike anything I've seen so far. So Chungus goes back a little bit now from Jib Jab. 6 tenths between them. Jib Jab now working on trying to catch Sora in the Ferraris on those hard tyres to make the way towards the detection zone. I don't think it'll be close enough. Could Chungus go potentially try and battle his teammate off the last corner? He's using his battery to try and stay with him here. He's going to have DRS. I'm being told to invite Dacey back here, so one moment. Right, there we go. Jib Jab set the fastest up in the meanwhile. 1 minute 17.8. Edgar's skidding a little bit there. Right, hopefully they'll get Dace back in the race. Ogwin still trying to take back second. He had a terrible start to the race. Really dropped back early on. And now he's going to try and get back in the hunt. course, he'll probably lose some places once drivers come into the pits here. Combat right behind Para. So we could see something go on down this main straight. Combat using his battery. Down towards that first corner. They cross the line. Down the main straight. The crowd roaring them on. Combat into turn 1. He's clear of the Haas car before they even reach the first corner. And look who's behind them now. Here comes Race Roller now. 1.3 seconds back. Para using his battery. Only briefly. Combat with the DRS. Pulling away a little bit more there. About half second between the two. Zydrad retired. What has happened? I think he may have lost the car. And yes, he has. He's lost the car through turn 4. I believe that's a safety car. Yes, it is. This could put some of those medium runners in a very good situation now. Minty with a huge lead. Most likely be able to pit and still retain the top spot. And that might just be a perfect situation. Zydrad, who I was talking about potentially going on to set soft tyres at the end of the race, now out. He's our first retiree at the Grand Prix. Didn't quite see it happen, so apologies for that. I'm assuming that he potentially went too wide, maybe went on the curb too much, lost the car on the exit of turn number 4 and just couldn't hold on to it, crashed into the wall and came back across the track. So very unfortunate for Zydrad then. Minty to set hard tyres. I don't see anyone staying out here. I don't see where anyone would. Sora into the pitch. Jib also committing. Looks like everyone's coming in here. Save for Sem. Sem who's staying out here. He's getting a large number of places here down this straight. Down to 1. Could he beat Ogween there? Yes, he can around the outside. I think he has to go back though. Right then, so a lot of cars in the top 10 now on to sets of hard tyres. Everything's going a bit crazy in the pit lane. Everyone's all over the place. Very quick stops for all of these guys. It's pretty much everyone on fresh tyres now, save for Sem and Daisy, who's just reconnected, I believe. Nope, still disconnected here. Not quite sure what's going on. He sent the invite out. I'll send him another one just to make sure. Not really fair for a driver to be at the session for this long. Right, hopefully that'll work. Daisy in top now. Not doing too bad. So then Mitzi's lead has now been neutralised. I doubt Sem will be able to take advantage too much on the restart. I'm assuming he'll be going for potentially a set of soft tyres as Daisy now rejoins. Behind the safety cars. Hasn't lost too much. And Daisy's disconnected now. He's got a 5-second penalty now for ignoring the yellow flag. I think that's because he passed Chungus there. Alright, we'll invite him back. Oh, I believe he's turned his Xbox off. I'm not entirely sure. Right then, so looks like his AI will finish the race anyway. So lap 18 then. Minty in the lead, Crispy second, Ogween third. He's really gained some places here thanks to that safety car. Staying out for as long as he could on those medium tyres like the rest of the top 3 did. Minty's lead now been lost significantly. He had almost 10 seconds on the guy behind him, which is Crispy. Rolling now over to 7th, so he's now in a better situation than he was a couple laps ago. So these guys that were up front to start the race, the Mercedes cars, Jib and Chungus, Andres was up there. Of course, Southerner, I'm sure was very pleased with the situation because he's now able to catch back up to the pack. So perhaps Corey's prediction of Southerner P3 could still happen. Let's have a look at the position changes here between the pack. The biggest gainer in this race being Combat, who's gained 11 places since the start thanks to this safety car. And the driver who's dropped the most places is actually a tie right now. 3-way tie between Andres, Chungus and Edgars. Things not looking very good for those guys. The safety car definitely impacted them. And here we go then. Safety car in this lap now that everyone is all there. So how will Mitzi fare on this restart? He'll be looking to try and get away as quickly as he can, but if Crispy catches him napping behind, then he could see something going on. Everyone weaving here as they enter turn 13. Mitzi has control. When will he go? I'm thinking he might try and go on the exit of the last corner. A lot of cars dropping back here. Sem's spun the car, I believe. Oh, and Mitzi didn't quite get the restart he wanted. Crispy in the tow here. Could try and take the lead in turn 1. Mitzi defending inside as they come towards that first corner. He's going to try and go around the outside if he can. There goes Crowding looking inside and attempts to take third place. And he will take third place to Volkween. Crispy on the outside here and attempts to take the lead away from Mitzi. But it's not going to happen. The McLaren gets back past and holds on to it. Crowding still down the inside. Volkween gets forced out. There goes the Aston Martin to third place. Crispy is still all over Mitzi here as they enter and come towards turn number 4 now. All around goes one of the cars behind, and that was Para in the Haas who's dropped back. Has he got damage? If he didn't before, he might have now. I think he's okay. He may have lost an end plate at the very least. Yes, he has. Crispy still on the back then of Mitzi. Joe's getting places left, right, and centre here. It's all very tight here. 4/10 the gap. Oh, yellow flag, and that's Edgar's has gone off. And there is the Alfa Romeo there, and there's a virtual safety car. Another retiree here. After less than a lap of racing. So Edgar's out, and now down to 17 cars. Got 16 laps to go in this thing. And Corey with another prediction, with a bet here. If Southerner gets the podium, then I'll make sure he does it. Oh! Could be seeing a Southerner shoey. Should he pull off the impossible and get a podium in the late stages? And we saw Combat take a podium from a disconnection last week. Or not last week, the week before. But it's definitely possible here. I'll have to see what goes on. Meanwhile, Crispy right behind Mitzi here. As he get ready for that. I'm getting back on the way now. The green flag about to fly once more. So everyone's getting back up to speed. Power into the pits now. Green flag back out. Mitzi catches him napping. Terrible restart for Crispy. He's still about half a second behind. Now, will we have to wait a couple more laps for the DRS to be enabled? Because that could put Mitzi in advantage. He's already got half a second of the 1 second gap he needs in order to get out of DRS range. No one outside of a second of each other, save for the 2 Williams cars, Southerner and Sem, who's just got a penalty for multiple warnings. Daisy has a penalty for ignoring yellow flags, which could be taken away towards the end of the race. Let's see what happens. Yellow flag, sector 2, and that is Merckx who's spun off in the Ferrari. And quickly very nearly going across Sem's path there. Power down to 17th. He'll be hoping for another safety car here. Crispy very close to Mitzi, as he has been over these opening couple of laps on this restart. Here they come to the final corner now. Southerner meanwhile passing Daisy, so making up a place now. And could that podium still be on? DRS now enabled, so the virtual safety car didn't affect it. Crispy though will have to wait another lap to be able to use it. Pulling away from crowding here, so I'm sure that's what he wanted to do right now. Within the final 15 laps now, this Hungarian Grand Prix, and it's still Mitzi in the lead. He's been taking the lead from Ogwin at the first corner, and having led the way ever since. Half a second separate the 2 leaders here as they charge back up the hill and towards turn 4. Everyone, I'm sure, no doubt, maybe lifting a little bit more if they've seen what happened to Zydrad earlier on, caused that first safety car. Crowding almost outside of that 1 second range for DRS off of Crispy. Crispy, who's got no focus on what's going on behind him. He's fully focused on chasing Mitzi for the lead. Behind them, meanwhile, keep my eye on Chungusko, who is very close to the back of Andres, who, of course, these 2 are early contenders from the start of the race. Did very well in qualifying. These 2 very good in Q2 in particular. So keep an eye on this battle. Griffiths has Riggsy right behind him. Crispy's dropped back a little bit now. He's still within that 1 second gap that he needs. Crowding also within that range. It's off the last corner. Mitzi using his battery on the exit. And Crispy's closing in here. Will he try and get close enough here? Try to set something up for turn 2. Went a bit wide for that first turn. Everyone's staying single file. Nice and breezy for the time being. Into turn 2. Crispy still there behind Midzi. Unable to make a move this time. Unable to close in enough. He was setting up to go for something in turn 2, but he went way too wide in that first corner and he lost time as a result. And crowding is still a decent way back. It looks less than a second. Into turn 6 now. Midzi still in control. Jib-Jab meanwhile up into 7th place there for Mercedes. Sora in 6th. Those two both chasing Combat, who's up in the 5th spot now. Yellow flag, sector 2, sector 3. Oh, and that's Crispy who's gone around. Crispy, who was chasing Midzi for the lead, looked like the main challenger, and now spinning out at turn 11 and down to P14. Very unfortunate for the Haas car, and that puts both the two Haas machines outside of the points. And that could allow Midzi to now do exactly what he wants to do and extend his lead. He's got 1.5 seconds now on Crowding in 2nd place. Here we are again, with Crowding now chasing the McLaren that's showing the way as Sora looks inside of Combat to take 4th place. And he will take 4th, running Combat wide on the exit. Keep it on track. Jib-Jab might go for something into turn 2. Best not to. Well, it would have been way too risky and most likely wouldn't have paid off. He's on those medium tyres, so he should get past Combat in the next lap or so. Potentially down that main straight when they go down there again. Look at him, looking around. He's trying to find an opening. The Sora now gets hit with a time penalty, and that could be crucial. As of right now, it looks like he'll be finishing outside of the points. Or maybe just about in the points. Should he get to the end of the race and it's looking like this? It's one long train now. Crowding falling away. Sora trying to get on the podium. He's chasing Ogween as they make their way towards the final corner, turn 14. Down the main straight they go again. Down towards turn 1. Looks like Ogween's more focused on Crowding. Oh! Sora pushing, essentially, Ogween through turn 1. Jib-Jab all over Combat on the exit. Sora looks inside. Is he going to swipe the podium place away from Ogween? I think he might here. Around the outside, he's done it. Sora now into 3rd place and chasing Crowding for 2nd. Combat still has Jib-Jab all over him here as they go through turn 5 and now towards the chicanes of 6 and 7. Bryce was a 2nd back from these guys. He's got work to do here. Crowding now 2 seconds behind. Sora then. We're looking for 2nd now. As Crowding wants a little bit. It's Crispy. Adds insult to injury. Gets a 3-second time penalty. It won't impact him, I don't believe. Because of Daisy on the penalty. And even so, the Red Bull's 5 seconds behind. Down the main straight. Sora on the chase. Could get Crowding at turn 1 if he gets close enough. Has to be a very audacious move to pull it off. Not going to go for it yet. Setting up for a move at turn 2. Jib-Jab still trying to fight his way past Combat. As Chungoscope passes Andres. Andres being forced wide in the exit there. And here comes Griffiths getting involved around the outside. Here comes the AlphaTauri looking to make a move. The only one left in the race at this point. And Sem comes into the pits. Oh, and Griffiths forced onto the grass. Andres now moving ahead again. The Alpine still in P9. And Jib-Jab dropping back a little bit from Combat now. Look at Sora, who's all over Crowding here on the inside going into turn 6. Just about backed out of it in time. Look at the Ferraris all over the back of the Aston Martin here. You can tell it's only a matter of time before he manages to get past him here. Look how good that Ferrari's been throughout the race here. And with clean air, potentially could try and chase down Midzi. What an incredible race it's been. We've still got 10 laps to go, so it could still go anyone's way. Sora off the last turn. This train continues here. He should get crowding at turn 1 here. There goes to the right, down the main straight into the first corner. He's clear of the Aston Martin before they reach turn 1. Move Sora up to the second spot. And now he's got 10 laps to try and close that 2.5 second gap to Midzi in the lead. Can he put it off? This plucky reserve is now taking the place of the underdog in what could be an incredible battle should it come to fruition. Chungascope passing Race Roller now. And Combat still holding off Jib Jab. The two Mercedes cars, one of them on the attack, one of them on the defence. Combat is no strange to making his way through the field, has done just that over the course of today, and he's still could potentially finish on the podium because Crowding's now right there. He's there. If he falls back anymore, he'll be falling into Ogwin's clutches. And can the Red Bull try and find his way through? He started on pole, so he could have only lost positions today. Well, safe to say, there's nothing he could have gained. And Sora closing that gap now. And this could be where it gets interesting because he's closed that gap by about 7/10. Without a doubt, the Ferrari on the chase here. A bit of a skid there going through on the exit turn 13. So he's lost about a tenth or so, but he's still closing in. Look at him go. He's pulled away. Sora sets the fastest lap. 1 minute 17.7. I believe that's the first of those we've seen. Oh, there. No, we've seen a few of them. We've seen one from Crispy. Oh, and Sem's out. Sem has crashed there, and the safety car now gets deployed. Could Paraquick go onto soft tyres? Potentially, have to see. But Midzi, now that extra layer of protection that he had, now gets eradicated. I'm thinking late changes onto soft tyres for a lot of these guys. And a mad dash to the end, lasting around 5 or 6 laps. This Hungarian Grand Prix may have just been blown wide open. Of course, Sora has that penalty, I do forget to mention. So if he does take the lead, he'd have to pull out a 3-second advantage in order to pull things off at the end of the race. But could he pull it off? It's yet to be seen. So there's the tyres everyone's on now. Do we see some late pit stops? Do we see drivers staying out to maintain track position? Everything now being put on the line. Midzi stays out. Sora also stays out. I think we'll be seeing a lot of drivers staying out here with lots of things. Oh, Cormac's coming in. Jib Jabber also coming in too. Chunga stays out. Roller comes in. Griffiths. Oh, Andrew spinning there. He's in. Southerner now into up to 11th place. Crispy in. Merckx, Stacy, Paraquicks. What are they going to do? Merckx stays out. Daisy stays out. Para yet to see what he's going to do. He's about half a lap behind. So Midzi then still leading. Sora still second. Crowding still third. Combat now the highest of those runners now on soft tyres. So what could this mean? Merckx getting past them into the first corner. So he's getting a couple of places from that. There's no doubt those that everyone's tyres can now make it to the end. So these top 7 are all stayed out. I'm assuming for track position. Para comes to the pits here. The 2 Haas cars now in the back after Crispy was such a good challenger early on, and Para was in with a good chat for points. It's fallen apart for them. They're going to try and salvage what they can hit in the late stages. What is it with the Hungaroring and serving up drama in league racing? It's been a very, very entertaining Grand Prix throughout. Midzi won here last season. He's on course to try and make that 2 in a row. He's led every single step of the way in this race. No one's been able to stop him. After that spin in Q3, a very rare mistake that we have seen from the McLaren so far in Season 8. I mean, he still qualified second and took advantage of that front row slot to take the lead at turn 1. And now we're just waiting for Para to make his way all the way around to the back of the pack. I'm assuming we'll have about 6 laps or so of racing left to do. Look at Daisy there, disconnected and still running in 9th place. Of course, he's on a set of hard tyres. So they've gone 17 laps. if my maths are correct, they'll have gone 23 by the time the race is completed. Power then around the last corner. It's looking like we will go racing this lap. So then, Sora in second place, the underdog. This is a David versus Goliath fight in every single sense of the word. And the question is, can he pull it off? Power now joining up to the back of the pack. And here we go. Safety car in this lap. Midzi will want to absolutely nail this restart. Keep an eye on the guys on soft tyres behind. Sort of doing the Verstappen thing. Trying to get alongside him. Itching to get going here. Midzi really bunching the pack up. That Ferrari is a major threat to his lead. He's going around the outside here. He can't take the lead though. He has taken the lead briefly. He's got to go back. Oh, and Midzi may have just caught him here. Never mind. They're dead even. Midzi pulling away here. Green flag now back out. Down towards turn 1 they go. Sora's got his nose in there on the outside. Into turn 1. Does he take the lead? Midzi's on the inside. Should hold on to it. Behind them though, it's all action stations for the rest of the pack. The guys on soft tyres already moving up here. Midzi into the lead. Crowding back there in third. Keep an eye on him. Chungoscope now back up to fourth. Ogween fifth. Rigsy sixth. Under threat though from Merckx behind. He's under threat from Combat. It's all going on here. Lap number 30 of this Grand Prix. We've got 6 more to go. 5.5 to be exact. And the DRS got enabled on lap number 32. So we'll have a couple of laps of DRS racing to get up to the end. Combat now passing Merckx. Was that through the chicane? Excellent racing there. Brilliant overtake from Combat. And all clean by the looks of things. Does Merckx have damage? I don't think he does. I have to see here. We get a better camera angle. I don't think he does, no. Merckx though dropping back here. Falling away out of the points. Those soft tyre runners taking advantage. Combat trying to go around the outside of Rigsy if he can. He's on the inside looking in now. Rigsy gets around the outside. Sora right on the back of the McLaren as they charge towards turn 1. And he's gonna have the DRS next time round. No mistakes have been made on this lap because he needs to keep himself as close as he can. And there goes Combat diving inside but potentially overshooting turn 1. He's held onto it. Around goes Chungus Go in the Mercedes. And Chungus Go, the reserve, is doing so well. He's got himself going again. That's very quick, but he's back. He's got the back of the pack now on those medium tyres. Oh, and Merck going very close to spinning out as well. So 1 Ferrari outside of the points. Chungus Go has left this session. He's disconnected now. So 2 disconnected drivers now at the back. But the race is pretty much over for Chungus Go at this point, thanks to that spin, regardless. Sora, remember, still has that penalty, so he's got to get past quickly. Keep an eye on Combat, who's up into 5th place now on those soft tyres. Chungus Go with a 5-second penalty there, similar to Stacey earlier on for ignoring the yellow flag. This is where it gets entertaining. We're about to see our first battle for the race lead in this Grand Prix since turn 1. It's taken 31 laps for someone to get up here and challenge Midzi, but it's about to get underway now. This is where the fight begins. By my notes, this is Sora's first race, and here he is taking on the reigning champion. Well, not the reigning champion, sorry, the championship leader, Midzi, the driver who's dominated so much this season. No DRS yet, because while it's been enabled, can't use it until we get around to the last corner. Combat on the inside of Ogween at turn 1. The Alfa Romeo gets him. Ogween on the inside, unable to do anything. Crowding still there in 3rd place, keeping nice and consistent. Sora needs to keep doing what he's doing here. There they come now, making their way into the turn 6-7 chicane complex. Good exit for both cars. And then what Sora can't do, he can't go for any moves where it's unnecessary. He's using a bit of his battery. He'll probably want to keep it. These two got about the same amount left. Mitty arguably has a little bit more as Sora runs wide. Lucky not to get another penalty. Not sure how many warnings he's had towards that next one. He's dropping back a little bit though. In a battle as close as this one, those couple hundredths are going to be crucial in the late stages, especially when he's got to try and build a lead in the next 3 laps. Battery deployed. Both cars here down the main straight. Sora closing his combat, sets the fastest lap. He's going to try and pass going into turn 1 if he can. He might try and get past crowding as Power gets a 5-second penalty. Power's out of the race. And Sora not close enough yet. It's looking unlikely here that he's going to finish on the podium. But I'm sure he'd like to try and win the race on the track. It's been a brilliant performance from regardless of result. He's one of the first drivers we've seen this season stand up and challenge Midsy's dominance over the course of a Grand Prix. We saw it briefly in Austria with Crispy taking the lead in the early stages. But Midsy managed to get back out front and held on to things to take that victory. But this is the first time in the late stages where someone's about front to challenge Middy. Actually, we're saying that. We saw a bit from crowding last week, but he couldn't quite get the job done. It's about the same situation here. So sorry for crowding for forgetting that fact, but it has been 2 weeks. I was saying that I did remember Austria regardless. But yes, crowding came close and he's still there in 3rd place. It could potentially hold off combat until the end. He's got to hold on for the next 2 laps though. Sora's got to take the lead and hope for one huge Midsy mistake, something we haven't seen much of all season. It's going to have to be a good exit from here after this last corner. It's not the best of runs. Midsy got a great exit. The DRS now deployed. 2 more laps to go. Could we see a change in the race lead? Jib just sets the fastest lap. Sora to the outside. Midsy defends underneath. Sora around the outside. He's trying to draw level. The DRS now is being redeployed. And he's on the inside. He might take the lead here. Yes, he does. Sora on the inside in the Ferrari takes the top spot. And Andres has gone round. Sora takes the lead. It is what I believe is his first ever McKeon division race as a reserve in that Ferrari. Now up front, the team, if I have another look at the standings, the team 9th place in the Constructors' Championship. It's not looking like he'll win the race. It looks like, in fact, it looks like he'll finish around 6th place unless he builds a lead now. He's got a lap and a half to do it. He's got to count on Midsy coming back at him with the DRS down the main straight, but does he have enough left in the tank? Midsy's going to win the race at this point as it stands, so he's just got to hold on from where he is. Crispy gets a penalty for multiple warnings. Combat's now up on the podium. He's on course to finish 2nd. Sora now has to build another 2.3 seconds in order to win this race over the course of one single solitary lap. Final lap of the motor race now. Midsy on a DRS. That's going to make this job a lot harder. I doubt he'll take the lead back unless he goes nose to the grindstone this last lap. Crowding dropping back here. Be lucky to hold on to 4th. Racer now battling with Jib Jab. They go side by side here through turn 2. It looks like Roll's going to have the edge here. Both these guys on soft tires are going to try and get past Ogween. Roll on the outside looking in. Not going to be enough. Sora is going to win the race on track. He is going to lose out though. It's looking like he'll finish. Could still finish on the podium in 3rd as Andres now retires in the pit lane. Only surprised me if Chunga Scope does as well. He's going for a set of soft tyres now. Crowding about half second. It's going to be 4th place for Sora here. Midsy's going to win the race. But incredible stuff from the Ferrari here who stood up and taken the lead outright from the McLaren driver. It's not going to be the race victory. It's still been a very impressive performance in the Ferrari though. And something that will definitely live on for those who have seen this one live. Out the last corner then, Sora wins the race on track, but Midsy is the official winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And crowding just about beats Sora for 3rd there. Oh, so Combat 2nd, crowding 3rd, Sora 4th. Ogwin in 5th. Brilliant racing there. Definitely my favourite of the season so far. I do hope you did enjoy that one. Incredible, incredible stuff. Combat gets driver of the day, finishing on the podium in the end. Brilliant race all around. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. It's the kind of racing, the kind of underdog performances we need to see in this division more often. It's been Midzi up front all season. He takes another victory then to extend his championship lead over Race Roller. And with that then I'll start inviting these top 3 back into... Okay, right, so it was Combat, Crowding and Midzi. I'm going to turn my mic back on. So there we go then. Midzi takes the victory then with Combat in 2nd and Crowding in 3rd. Sora, unfortunately, without that penalty, would have won the Grand Prix, but instead drops back to 4th. Ogwin in 5th, Roller in 6th at the end of it. Decent race from him. Jib 7th, Riggsy 8th, Southerner 9th, and Griffiths in 10th. So lucky for Southerner, Corey's not going to force him to do a shoey. So lovely stuff from him there. Right, we'll get a few appearances now from drivers in the party. We're just waiting now for Combat. I'm not sure if he'll arrive. Okay, I might invite Sora. I felt we need to hear something from him after that incredible race that we just witnessed from him. So potentially get him in to replace Crowding.
Yeah, sure.
Wow, I mean, I'm not really sure what to say, you lot. I mean, that was a hell of a race. I'll see if Sora shows up, but if not, we'll move on to you guys who had a decent battle last time round in Silverstone. And now here you are going at, or kind of going at it again, 1 and 2 again, at the very least.
Could have been 2nd.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Combat finished 2nd. My bad.
Broken.
Yeah.
Softs are just too strong.
Okay, well, it does look like Sora or Combat. I'm going to shut up. So we'll get started then. So we'll start with Crowding, who finished in 3rd place. Congratulations, mate. Talk us through the race from your perspective. What went down?
Can't really say a lot really happened. Just managed to obviously stick as close to the soft runners as possible, obviously before they pitted. And then it was that 1 lap after they'd pitted where it was like a 1.7 second gap to Ogwin, which I closed into just under a second in that 1 lap, and I was just like, well, this could go well. And then I just got stuck in that train for God knows how many laps, and then obviously a safety car appeared, which saved me in a sense, because I was going to go hards anyway. Yeah, saved me. It basically gave me a free pit stop, and I come out 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th? I don't know, at some point. Then got Ogwin on the restart, and then Crispy spun. So it's just, yeah, kind of maybe shit myself, but you know.
All right, fair enough. And then with those 2 safety cars, did that? In what ways did that alter your strategy in terms of the tyres? Were there going to be any changes you would have made if there hadn't been those safety cars, or would you have just kept doing what you were doing?
I mean, I was more than likely going to try and undercut the 2 ahead of me anyway by going on the hards, but obviously the safety car helped. The first safety car helped anyway. That second safety car, I was like, do I go softs? Then I was like, if I go soft, then I drop back, I have to pass people, and more than likely I'll get put in a wall. So I was like, no, I'll just stick it out and hope I don't die trying to battle, and I didn't. So.
Alright, fair enough. I mean, that's one way of thinking about it, yeah. Alright, and then the last question I got for you, of course, next week, a Belgian Grand Prix, Spa-Francorchamps. How is Spa as a track for you?
Awful.
Right, I think that pretty much sums it up, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, it just have to be plain and simple. It's awful.
Yeah.
I like the track, I'm just not fast at it.
Now, I was commentating a race in another league in the wet, and it was a bit of a nightmare, to be entirely honest. I mean, not really much happened, to be honest. But yeah, regardless, congratulations on finishing 3rd, another podium finish, 2nd in a row. And
Thank you.
right, well, now we'll move on to our race winner then, Midzi, who, honestly, first question for you, mate. Can you stop winning now? I'm getting bored of talking to you every week.
I'll crash out next week for you.
Thank you, much appreciated. All right, on a level though, It's been quite a race weekend for you there. Of course, the came close to retaking pole position in the late stages of Q3 before spinning out. Yeah, what happened with that spin in Q3?
I in that day of my first run, tried going again. My tyres were just too hot starting the lap, so by the time when I spun, it was already starting to overheat. But I kept invalidating anyway, so no problem.
All right, and then still started second in the race itself. When Prix managed to retake the lead in the start, and you led pretty much every lap, save for like 2 or 3 in the last couple of laps at the very end. In terms of Sora battling you there in the late stages, he managed to get past you. I mean, surely you must have been worried before the second safety car came out. Must have been worried when you saw him closing that gap.
Yeah, I was actually, especially when he set like the fastest lap at one point, and like this before the second safety car. I was thinking, yeah, he's gonna probably have me, but then again, the safety car didn't come out. My tyres would have got better and better compared to his as the laps went on. So yeah, it would have been close. But again, even if that first safety car didn't come out, that was going to be really close because of all the different strategies as people pitting, like Sem and a couple of others pitted, like and Sora pitted at the end of lap 7, and then Andres and I think Big Chungus pitted like end of lap 11 or 12, and they would have undercut me. So yeah, that ending without a safety car would have been pretty hectic as well.
So is it safe to say that second safety car definitely threw a spanner in the works for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because obviously especially when you're towards the front and there's a late safety car, like you're in a worse position really, because you kind of have to stay out because you have more to lose than to gain. Obviously you can pit, and then just hope everyone else pits. But and if you do pit and then everyone stays out, you're screwed. But I just hoped enough people would stay out, and they did really, just about.
Alright, and then if you can, briefly talk me through that battle with Sora in the last couple of laps then. What went down there? Because he managed to get the lead off you.
I was just trying to keep him behind as long as I could, to be honest. I knew he'd get me at some point, but I was thinking, especially when I saw Combat coming to the top 5, I was like, yeah, he's gonna win this. So I was just trying to keep Sora behind me as long as I can to drain his DRS, so when he did get past me, he wouldn't be able to break the DRS to me, because if he'd done that, then yeah, Combat would have had me easily. Still, yeah, I drove really well I feel like I drove really well on the last lap, because Combat, obviously still being on those fresher tyres, I thought he would have been close enough to go for a move, probably at the start of sector 3 somewhere, but he wasn't close enough. So yeah, that was my whole thinking of it, especially I know I saw out a pen, so I could have just let him pass anyway, but I think he would have, if I let him pass a couple of laps straight away, then he probably would have broke the DRS.
Alright.
That was really fun.
Alright, then last question, I'll ask you the same as I asked Crowding. Belgium next week, other than the fact you promised to crash for us, how is Belgium as a track for you?
It's alright, but there's Crispy, he has had crap luck really this season, especially again today. He's behind me. He's pretty rapid around there, and I'm usually quite a bit slower than him. So if he's up for it, then someone like him would probably be the person to beat. So yeah, I enjoy the track, but pace isn't as good as it could be.
Alright, fair enough. Alright, well, congratulations on the victory. I'll tell you how many you've got now, but I've kind of lost count. But yeah, congratulations, and thank you guys for showing up to this, and thank everyone for watching the stream tonight. It's been a bit of a longer one than usual, but I do hope you enjoy it regardless. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night for the Division 1 race, with the last race of the weekend in Hungary, and of course next Sunday for more McKeon Division action. You can join us at Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix, where mid-tier is promised to crash, so make sure to pay attention to that. Alright, so with that then guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.